Hey, this is Clemente Bonilla, head baseball coach for Capistrano Valley Christian School, and we are on the CVCS Baseball Podcast. Very excited to introduce our guest today. 14 years in the major leagues, was a World Series champion, NLCS MVP, and a Silver Slugger Award winner, Javier López.
How you doing?
Javi, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so I want to go right into a little story. I remember your family. You have family here. Your sons Brody and Glavine. What grades are they in?
Gavin's in 4th grade. Brody's in 7th grade.
Okay, yeah, great. And then your lovely wife Gina, who's been such a great helper and support with the extracurricular things, even outside of their grades, just helping like with the high school sports bashes and things. So you guys are just such a wonderful part of our CVC family and giving back to the community. But I remember I was in my office, and this is before I knew that you were going to be a CVCS parent and you had family here. And you came and found me in my office, and I was starstruck. I couldn't believe that Javier López was in my office and just letting me know that his kids were coming here, and he wanted to introduce himself and even offered any kind of opportunity to help with the catchers or throw batting practice and talk hitting. And I just, we have a little bit of an age gap, so I remember being a young kid coming off the school bus, and, we would jump into the driveways and play wiffle ball with the friends in the neighborhood. And, about an hour later, TBS would always put on the Atlanta Braves games. And
Brave.
I just remember growing up, and I was a switch hitter. So, of course, when I was batting left-handed, there were people like Will Clark, Ken Griffey Jr., and then I really started to mimic Chipper Jones from the left side. It was one of my favorites. And then you could ask any of my friends, well, including Josue, he'll tell you that when I batted right-handed, I always mimicked Javi López. That was my right-handed swing.
That's so funny.
I love that. And then, comes full circle. Your family's here, and it's just been really nice to build that relationship with you guys. Just one of the most genuine people in baseball, Javier López. So, Javi, let's just kind of get right into your youth baseball. You grew up in Puerto Rico.
Correct.
So similar to America, I'm sure there's Little League Baseball. And just tell us a little bit about the youth journey before you signed.
Yeah, so I started playing baseball in Little League at the age of 9 years old. Before that, I just played basketball, a little bit of volleyball, and just played baseball, but just in the neighborhood with my friends and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I was 9 years old when my dad actually signed me up to play in a baseball team. And there was a little tryout before I have to make the team. And the only thing I have to do is just catch the ball. I was playing catch with another kid. And between him and I, whoever catches the ball the most is going to make the team. And that's what my career actually started. I did terrible last year because it's an organized baseball. It's not like a street baseball. And I thought I was good enough, but once I started playing Little League Baseball and start seeing pretty good pitchers, I wasn't good enough. But that was the first year. After that, I started getting more confidence and start liking the sport more and more and more. And slowly, I started getting better. And I started getting, into more organized baseball team and playing more little street baseball with my friends. And baseball became my addiction in my younger age.
So when you were 9 or 10 years old in those first years, were you putting the catcher's gear on yet, or were you?
No. I was actually a shortstop and an outfielder and a pitcher. It wasn't until I was 14 years old when I first catch, and that was because our catcher got hurt, and we didn't have any catcher available. And because I had a pretty good arm from shortstop, our manager, asked me if I can try, to catch and see if we can cover that position for the guy who was hurt. And I say, sure, I'll try it. And once I catch the first game and threw out a few guys on second base, the manager said, you better get used to that equipment because that's going to be your position from now on.
Well, that was a blessing. I know in those days, especially Puerto Rico was just so strong with baseball. I know that they weren't part of the amateur draft yet.
No.
So any good prospects out of Puerto Rico had to sign as a free agent.
That's a free agent.
Similar to the Dominican Republic or Venezuela or other places that have baseball in the world.
Correct.
So you go to high school and then you sort of blossom there. How did scouts start to see you? How did it become a possibility where you and your family knew maybe I could sign a pro contract and make this a career?
Yeah, so I was playing Little League, like I told you, up until I was 15 years old. It's when our first scout approached my dad, actually, and told him that I got based on my abilities, I got a good future ahead of me, and we would love to continue keep an eye on you, on Javi, and when the day comes, we would like for you to consider us. And that was the scout from San Diego Padres.
Okay.
And my dad told me all that, everything he told him, and that's when I started seeing baseball more as a career, more than just a hobby. Because before that, I was just playing baseball for fun, and I wasn't looking at baseball as my career. But until that scout talked to my dad, then I see baseball in a different way. Mm-hmm. And that's when I actually put more enthusiasm into the game. I start practicing more. I start getting more involved. Continue playing other sports. Don't get me wrong. I was playing basketball. I was playing volleyball, track and field. And actually, thanks to all these sports, helped me out with all the others' ability that I can actually apply into the baseball. And that helped me out a lot. But
well, it seems like it really built a well-rounded athletic foundation for you, playing all those sports.
Yeah, and I played pretty decent in all of them. I wouldn't say good, but I was pretty decent in all of them. And I really enjoyed playing in all of them, especially volleyball. I fell in love with that game because when I was playing basketball first, and my manager, my coach, he was the physical education at one of the school in my hometown, and he wanted me to recruit me, and they gave me a half scholarship to get in there, and I was playing basketball, and when I got there the first year, it was a volleyball season, and I never played volleyball before, and once I started practicing, I fell in love with that game, and the rest was history. I started liking volleyball better than basketball.
Wow.
And then another school, that high school only goes to 9th grade.
Okay.
And then after I graduated, then I went to a different high school.
So was that normal in high school in Puerto Rico? Was there high schools that would go to 9th grade and then a second high school?
No, that particular high school just happened to be until 9th grade.
Okay. So it was almost like extended junior high school.
Yeah, most of the high school there are from K to 12. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to this other high school, I was actually have a scholarship for volleyball as well.
Okay, that's really neat. See, a lot of people probably don't know this. So
yeah,
you must have been able to jump pretty good.
Yeah,
good vertical.
I used to, and then it wasn't until my senior year where I kind of got in trouble a little bit with the school, just because I got into baseball so much that I was, skipping tournaments, because the volleyball tournaments was at the same time as my baseball games. Mm. And between those two, I was going to my baseball game. But I forgot that I have a commitment with the school, with the scholarship and all that. But towards the end, my dad talked to the coach and said that explain the situation, and he understood and worked it out.
Okay, well that's great. So now you must be 17 or 18 years old when. How did the Atlanta Braves come into the picture, and when did you sign?
So I was playing what they call Youth AA. It's a travel baseball in Puerto Rico, and I played when I was 16 and 17, 2 years. I played 2 years, and the first year at 16, I thought I was going to be in the bench because they already got their main guy, the 17-year-old guy who was the main catcher, Ricky. His name is, we used to call him Ricky Melon, which is watermelon, big head. He was the main catcher. But once we started playing the exhibition games, I kind of proved them that I can hit, I can catch, and then we split time. Once the coach see me playing, he's like, okay, well, Ricky, you and Ricky are going to split time. And at 16, I did great. I hit better than anybody there in the team and catch well. We make it to the playoff, not to the final, but at least we make it to the playoff, and we did great that year. The following year, I remember a high school from Alabama was doing a tryout in my hometown, and my dad took me there. I guess he wanted me to play even a higher level of baseball. And I did that tryout, and I did well. The guy was interested in having me there. But I wasn't crazy about going to Alabama, to high school. Never been to the United States. Didn't know the language. And I got cold feet after my dad told him that I was kind of committed to them.
Oh, okay. Great. I didn't know this story.
And then I got cold feet, and then I decided to play my second year of Youth AA. Mm-hmm. And that was the best thing because after that, then I got scouts from the Yankees, Boston, not Boston, but the Montreal Expos, Philadelphia, Houston Astros. I mentioned the Padres already. Mm-hmm. But then the Braves never show up. And it wasn't until I went to see, in a different hometown, I went to see this baseball game, the team that we have to compete later that week. We went to see them play. And he happened to see Jorge Posada's dad, which is Jorge Posada. That's his name. And he heard about me. He just never approached me because he was living in north and I was in the south, and it's like an hour and a half drive. I don't know. He never took the time to drive down and see me play. So he approached me there and introduced himself. Say, I'm Jorge Posada. I'm a scout for the Braves. I heard a lot about you. You don't even, I don't even have to see you. According to, some of the voices and people talking about you, I'm pretty sure you're pretty good. And looking at you, I had no doubt. Here's my card. If you're interested, just give me a call. Anyway, I saw the game that day. I went back home, and I was like, and for some reason, I happened to have this poster in my room, and it was Dale Murphy, Glenn Hubbard, and Phil Necro with the Mickey Mouse hat.
Okay.
And Mickey Mouse in the middle, because kind of introducing the Braves going to Disney World.
Oh,
to being part of the Disney World complex. And that was my poster. And I'm like, wow, okay, the Braves. And then I start thinking, well, the Braves are in TBS. They're always on TV. That's the only team you can watch on TV besides the Chicago Cubs. And I'm like, if I ever happen to be in the big league someday, my family get to see me play here in Puerto Rico all the time. Because there was, no other team you can watch. And I fell in love. That's the reason why I fell in love with the Braves. And I told my dad, I'm interested to sign with the Braves. And my dad was leaning over to the Yankees or the Montreal Expos or the Padres. But the Padres in that time, they have Benito Santiago and they have Sandy Alomar. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's no chance for me to be better than those two.
Was Benito from
Puerto Rico?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. He actually was is the reason why I became a catcher. Benito was my idol.
Oh, wow, okay.
Big time.
That's great. And then Sandy Alomar was already in the big leagues.
He was already in the big league.
Was Roberto Alomar?
He was already in the big league also.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and then and that was it. My dad grabbed the business card and called Jorge Posada and told him that we're interested.
That's cool. I didn't know that Mr. Jorge Posada Sr. was a scout.
Senior, yeah.
That's really cool.
And that was the age of... I was at 16 years old.
Okay.
16 years old. So legally, you're not supposed to sign until you're 17.
Okay.
But we kind of committed in the hush-hush to sign at 16, a few months before I turned 16.
Okay. So it was kind of like a verbal commitment that you were going to go with the Braves?
Yeah, pretty much. And then
when did it become official and you
my birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I turned 17, boom.
So
I
you
signed
were
with the
in
Braves.
Florida? Or did you go?
No, I was here. I mean, I was in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
My hometown.
So then when did you report to your first minor league assignment?
That was in November 5th when I turned 17. And then in March, because I was still in school, in March we had the spring break, and we have a whole week off. And that whole week of spring break for me, I went to spring training.
Wow.
I was pretty impressive when I get to spring training, and they didn't know what to expect. For me, I thought it was going to be just that one league that you have to play before you get to the big league. I never knew that you have to go through rookie, single A, double A, triple A, and then big league. I thought it was just one league, and boom, to the big league.
Wow.
That's what I thought. So once I get to Florida, to West Palm Beach, and report to camp, and the first day, the first thing I saw was like at least 200-300 baseball players in the field. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So like 30 something catchers that I have to compete with. And all I did was listen to the coach. Forget about all this guy. All you have to do is concentrate about yourself. Mm-hmm. You be you. You're the one who you're going to compete to yourself. Okay? Forget about everybody else. Focus on yourself. All right? And that's what I did, basically. I just ignored the rest of the catcher. I mean, I have to say that at the beginning it was hard to ignore them because you always try to pay attention to how they're hitting, how they're catching, so you can step up But the more I do that, the more frustrated I get. So at one point I decided to completely ignore them, play my game, do my job without looking at them. And things went well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the smartest way to approach it because whatever they're doing is out of your control.
It's out of my control.
You could only control you. But, that's, especially coming out of high school so young, I mean, that was one thing I remember in my first spring training in 2003, a little bit overwhelmed with how many guys were out there and who you're competing with. But at least I had some experience to lean on when I left home to go to college. And I had a little bit of that feeling in college. And so I had some experience to deal with that and know that, okay, just like college, some of these guys are big and strong, but I just concentrate on myself, do the best I can, and I think I'll be all right. Yeah. Where you didn't have that opportunity coming just straight from high school. So that's potentially extremely overwhelming situation for you.
Yeah.
But good thing that you were able to mentally lock in and just ultimately focus on just the things you can control.
Yeah.
So then did you do 142 minor league season that year, or was it short season A-ball? What was that?
It was, I did that whole week of spring break, and then I went back to Puerto Rico, finished high school. And in May, when I'm done, I went back and played the half season.
Right. So that was probably rookie, like short season?
That was rookie, and that was in Bradenton, Florida, in Pirate City. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautiful complex.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was kind of lonely, and I felt homesick at the beginning, but the following year, I got used to it. Because you don't go anywhere. You stay in that complex and you eat and do everything there. I didn't have any car. I didn't have anything.
Right.
And worst of all was I didn't speak the language, so I couldn't communicate the way I wanted. And that was the first thing I started doing is try to learn the language, because as a catcher, you need to communicate with the pitcher, with the infield. And there was a program that the Brave has. Every single night we got English class in one of the rooms in the hotel. And we go like around 6 o'clock, and we have English class for an hour.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And most major league organizations, I think, provide some English classes for the Latin American players. I'm not sure now. I've been so far out of the game, but I'm sure that's possible even for the Asian-born players coming from Japan and Korea. Our game is getting so global now.
Yeah.
But I know in those days, very, very heavy talent in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. And then I think some players started coming over from Venezuela as well.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot bigger in the early 2000s when I was coming up as well. So now, when was your first minor league assignment for a full season, and where was that at?
My first assignment was 1989, because I graduated on 88. 1989 was my first full season.
Okay.
88, I did pretty much the same thing. I went to spring break a whole week and then played half of the season again. So I did that for the first 2 years. And then the third year, then I played my first full season, and that was in Burlington, Iowa.
Okay. How did that go for you?
It was, I really enjoyed it. It was an experience. It was an adventure. I went to Iowa. I roomed with one of the Puerto Rican guys. His name was Melvin Nieves. And we didn't get along that well. We ended up splitting. He went to a different apartment. I went to a different apartment. We teamed up with some of the American players. So that was the best thing I did, because I was able to speak English with them every day, communicate with them. And I really have a really good time there. The season it wasn't that bad. I ended up hitting 260-something, which was, thank God I wasn't looking at other catchers' average or the way they were playing during that year. But the 267, I thought I was like, that's not good enough. You have to hit 300 in order to. But luckily, I was the best hitter in the whole minor league for catchers with 267, I believe it was. I can remember.
And were you also starting to show some power or not?
And I hit, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 10 home runs. I can't remember. I have to go back and look at the record. But I had a decent year, and I played well. I played well defensively, offensively. I really had fun, even though I was in the middle of nowhere. It was a good time. It was a good time, man. And I know once you feel good, you're going to play good, or at least you're going to feel good. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to me.
And then even getting comfortable with English and...
My English definitely step up a lot. Mm-hmm. At least people understand what I was talking about, which is the best thing as a catcher. You want everybody to understand what you're saying.
So let's fast forward to 1992, because that's when you first were called up to the major leagues.
Correct.
Where were you assigned that minor league season, and then when did you get the call? Where were you when you got the phone call that you were going to the big leagues? Who told you that you were going to the big leagues?
So, 1991, I was playing in Durham with the Durham Bulls. Mm-hmm. It was a really bad season for me. I was struggling. I ended up hitting 245. I cry a lot because I thought my career is going to be over. But again, luckily, even though I hit 245, I hit better than most of the catchers in the minor league. And that kind of helped me out a lot. So after that season, I went back to Puerto Rico and I started playing winter ball. And I trained and I prepared myself. I put a lot of extra work to try to bounce back from that year. So the following year, I went to spring training, and they told me I was going to start in AA, which is the Southern League back then in 1992. And I happened to see this guy who would play minor league. His name is Jeff Manto. He played quite a few teams in the big leagues. Every year you can see him in different teams. But he was a great guy, and he saw potential on me. Even though he was a player, he came up to me and told me exactly what I was doing wrong as a hitter.
That's awesome. What was it? What advice was he giving you?
He was telling me that my elbow was way too high, your bat was too high, just bring it down. For some player, elbow high, bat high works, But he saw me and he told me, your hands are too high, you got to keep that elbow low, keep it low, close to your body, blah, blah, blah. And I took his advice, and I started the season, and I started hitting the crap out of the ball. That season, I ended up finish winning the batting title, 321.
Wow, that's awesome. The Southern League batting title. Cool.
Southern League batting title. I got the MVP of the league. And our team was the best team in the history of the Southern League. We got the best record. We ended up with 143.
That's incredible.
And after we finished the last game that we became champion, my manager called me to my office and say, "Congratulations, you're going to report to the Braves in Cincinnati tomorrow." I'm like, wow, I couldn't ask for a better year.
Yeah, that's incredible. So,
but everything thanks to Jeff Manto advice.
That's so cool. Well, I'm sure sometimes just getting out of a funk takes just a little tweak mentally, but it just looking at what you were showing me there, it probably helped you keep your elbow inside the ball a little bit more. So now you're probably able to go gap to gap a little bit more. Bringing your hands down maybe made a cleaner path to the ball.
Correct.
Must have shortened up your swing just a little bit.
Yeah, because before, when I made contact, it was home runs or hard hit somewhere. But once he made me put my elbow down, I was able to control the ball better. I was going more right field, center field, left field. Mm-hmm. I was able to hit the ball all across the field more than just pull it and pull it and pull it and pull it.
Well, I remember you in the big leagues loved to get your hands extended and showed a lot of power. I know in the major leagues you were a career 287 hitter over 14 seasons. And I'm sure if you know some of this, I was doing research on you last night. And but yeah, you had a career batting average in the major leagues of 287. You hit 260 home runs. And, obviously all the Silver Slugger Award winner, I'm sure you have that somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's my pride.
But before we get to that, so back to what a great AA run, and then you get the call up in September. Who did you call first? Once you got the call up, I'm sure you thanked the manager there, and then did you make a phone call to your dad or?
Oh yeah,
call first?
I called my parents right away. My parents right away. They couldn't be any happier.
Yeah. Oh. Were they able to fly out to see you right away, or did it take time before they came to see you?
They didn't get to see me until they didn't get to see me that year.
Okay. Did you get a major league hit that year?
I did.
Remember your first major league?
Oh yeah. It was my first at bat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were playing against Houston, and we have a blowout game. We were losing, so they put me as a pinch hit in the ninth. And the first pitch I saw, I hit a line drive in the gap for a double.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that was my release. Yeah, that was my, big time relief after that, because you're kind of afraid. You see all these cameras, the people. It's pretty intimidating once you see it on TV all the time, but once you're in there, it's pretty intimidating.
And even though you guys were on the road at the Astros, but I'm sure...
No, we were at home.
Oh, you were at home. Oh,
we were
okay,
at home.
that's great. Well, I'm sure you had people stand and...
But when I got called up...
They threw the ball back and everything for you.
Oh, yeah. When I got called up, we were playing in Cincinnati. And that was the first time I'd been into a Major League Baseball field.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
Ever. I never been to a Major League Baseball field before I got called up. And Cincinnati happened to be the first stadium. And when I saw that, I was like, wow. It's really worth, all the sacrifices you did in the minor league to finally end up in this beautiful stadium with, it was amazing.
That is so incredible. What neat stories that you're sharing here. So now let's fast forward a few more years. And 1995... the Braves have been doing great all through the 90s, and you guys win your first World Series ring. And actually, that ended up being your only World Series ring of the 90s. You won tons of pennants, but the 95 World Series team, can you tell us a little bit about your experience on that team and you individually, how that year went for you, but also just now, the team and you're catching some of the best pitchers that now we look back, some of the best pitchers in the history of the game.
Yeah. Well, when I first got my my job as a starting catcher for the Braves, that was in 1994. It was okay. It wasn't what I was expected, and I split time with my backup catcher, Charlie O'Brien. The following year, I felt more prepared. I let that first year go away, and I was mentally prepared for 1995. 94, by the way, happened that we had the strike, which kind of saved us because there was an World Series that year. The Expos was ahead of us by a lot. They probably would have won the World Series. It would have continued. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for them. But then, once the season is over, the following year, I came mentally prepared, more relaxed. We have a lot better team since we recruited quite a few players. Marquise Grissom was one of them. And season started, and we were playing great baseball as always. Wasn't until the end, until the final, where we see the special. I saw a really special team this year compared to the last few years I played with the Braves. And I felt the union among the players. I felt the chemistry. I felt like this is a family. And definitely that's the main reason why we end up winning the whole thing. Because in the final, we face a team that possibly one of the best team I ever seen in big league offensively, which is the Cleveland Indians back then. When you have Albert Bell, Gene Tomei, Manny Ramirez,
wow, yeah,
Eddie Murray.
It was a strong lineup.
Unbelievable lineup. And we have no chance. But the way we're playing as a team, we were together, chemistry was there. We weren't intimidated by that. And when we start playing, we play our hard if we could. And we felt right away, we felt that we can beat that team right away. And they felt it too, because a few times I happened to talk to Sandy Alomar was in that team. Mm-hmm. So I happened to talk to him in the batting cages, and he right away told me that you guys are going to be killing us this series. And I was like, I don't know, man. This is not over yet. This is baseball. I'm hitting. But he already felt that our team is superior than their team. And, our pitchers do the job. Everybody do. They put the grain of rice in that World Series to win the game.
That's so fun. And once again, the common theme that seems to come up a lot is the team chemistry, the family. The teams that seem to do well in the biggest lights and the biggest stage are the teams that have a family unit and just are trying to do things more than just for themselves. They're trying to really be part of something bigger than themselves. And last week, our guest you got to meet for a second, Skip Schumacher, who has had a great baseball career and now is really making his name for himself as a manager and a coach. And in fact, shout out to Skip. Just a few hours after we had him here on campus at our very own CVCS podcast studio, he made it official that he was now the assistant GM to the Rangers, special assistant to the GM for the Rangers. And so he's just continuing to do great things in baseball, and another great, genuine guy. But one of the things he was saying, and he had a chance to play in 2 World Series and win the rings with the Cardinals in 06 and 11, and said the same thing, that he just felt there was just something about a bond with those guys. And that's just, I'm trying to pass that to our high school kids, that it works at all levels. You could be in Little League, but something about the connection and the team is just so important. The very next year, 1996, you guys make another beautiful run to the World Series. Yeah. Unfortunately, you did not win that World Series, but it was well fought. But the championship series, the National League Championship Series, you are the MVP of the NLCS. I know about 4 or 5 years ago, we had a great opportunity to be in the Eagles' Nest, and we did a hitters meeting with you, going over all those at-bats. And you were driving the ball. You were hitting home runs. You were hitting doubles. You had RBIs. You were just very clutch in these big moments. It must have been like the ball seemed like it was coming in like a watermelon for you.
A watermelon.
But how does that happen? How did you, when you're going good, why did that happen? Or is there a recipe to that, or it's just?
Well, the biggest change I did during that playoff was during the regular season. I'm not a patient guy. I'm not a patient hitter. I see the ball, I swing. Whether it's a good pitch or bad pitch. If I commit to swing a bad pitch, I'm going to swing as hard as I can, and that's it. But when it comes to the playoff, something switched where I became a lot more patient. All these pitches that I used to swing all the time, I used taking it. And I take a few walks at the beginning of the series, which is something that very rare for me to do. And I guess by me being more patient, they feel like they have to pitch me more because they don't want to see me on base. And that's when I took advantage of it. I see pitches more in the strike zone. And the rest was, history. I think that's the main change I did, just be more patient. And for some reason, I don't know how I did it. It's just the adrenaline, the heat of the moment that makes me change like that.
Mm-hmm. So something about the adrenaline and the big stage really was able to focus you, kind of laser focus you.
Yeah.
You were able to see the ball in more of a tunnel.
Something that I couldn't do during the regular season. Comes to playoff, I knew all eyes are on you.
That's a special thing.
There's no tomorrow. It's either do or die, and all that concentration and focus came a lot narrow for me during that series.
Well, they spoke a lot about that. I don't know how much of the postseason you watched this year, but the Dodgers utility player, Kike Hernandez, Puerto Rico. He had not a very good season in the regular season.
He's always
but man, something about the playoffs really brought him just locked in, dialed in. I remember in your days watching Mark Lemke, who was a very solid little second baseman in the season.
Very clutch hitter
in the playoff. Postseason was just clutch. So it comes in all shapes and sizes. Yeah. It just shows you that the mentality is more important than the body, especially in those situations. And so is that kind of the advice that you would give? I know you have 2 boys, Brody and Gavin, but Gavin's really kind of taking in your footsteps, really enjoying playing baseball. And I had a chance to see him in the wonderful camp you and Ian Kennedy, one of our other great former Major League parents that are here with their kids, and you guys were able to run this beautiful camp that we had, and I got a chance to see your son swing for the first time, and there's some serious, connections there. It looks like a little mini Javier Lopez with the power in the swing, maybe even better in the swing mechanically. Looks really good. You've done a lot of good things with him there. But what advice would you give to these young hitters, these hitters in high school, maybe the college or even minor league hitters? I know you've touched on the patience. What else would you say to these young hitters?
Well, they have to think that, and a lot of players say this all the time, that baseball is a game of failure. And it's all about bounce back from a failure. It's a very frustrating game. That's what I've been working with my son right now. Every time he goes 0 for 4 or 0 for 3, whatever, the war is coming to an end for him. And that's what I'm trying to talk to him about. Hey, tomorrow's another day. Don't get frustrated. In the big leagues, all you have to, or any league of baseball, all you have to do is make 3 hits out of 10 times. You do that, you be a tremendous hitter. That's it. So if you fail 1 time, 2 times, doesn't matter. Okay, frustration is what gets a lot of players stepping out or quit the game, because they have no idea how to bounce back. They just get frustrated and they just throw the bat and ball, and that's it. I'm done. And that's something that it's not easy to do, but you got to work on it. If you work on it, the more you work on it, the more you realize that you're going to be playing, you're going to do better things in the future. You're going to bounce back from that slump, and sooner or later you're going to start hitting the ball well. And if you hit the ball well and still not getting any base hit, at some point those balls are going to fall, because that's baseball. Sometimes you hit the ball well, you still got no hit, but at least you make a good contact. You know that sooner or later that's going to fall, and that's going to, keep you going. As long as you keep hitting the ball hard, it doesn't matter what happened.
And what's so neat about what you're saying right now is that, and the young kids that are listening here, I would say having a beautiful swing and working on your mechanics, getting your tee working, a lot of that is so important. And I'm not saying take away anything from having a very clean and beautiful mechanic swing. Sometimes that's just part of a routine that also helps you mentally, because mentally is so important in this game. And if you can't control that frustration, which is part of mental toughness, is having emotional composure. There's so many players. Both of us have had opportunity to see great players, and I'm not talking about great players that everybody knows who they are, players that no one ever got to know who they are, because they ended up quitting or they mentally tanked out of this game when they had such amazing tools and potential, but just couldn't figure it out here. And so kids just don't underestimate how important the mental part of this game is. I would dare say that it's if not equal, even more important than just having a beautiful classic swing.
Exactly.
It might be more important. You and I had a chance to have a conversation once about some of the best hitters that you ever saw or you ever played with. I know you brought up Chipper Jones once to me as one of the best players you ever got to play with.
Yeah.
And we know he's a Hall of Famer. What separated him? What year did he come up? What was your first year with him?
He came up a year after I signed up. I think it was 89.
Okay.
That's why he signed up. We played together in AA. We played together in AAA. We came up at the same time.
Wow. Okay, so you got to see him in the minor leagues. Well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what was the progression with him? I mean, was he just an elite hitter right out the gate, or did you?
No, he works it out. The thing is that Chipper's always been a really patient hitter. He took a lot of walks. He's just a patient hitter. And once he see the pitch that he's looking for, he never, took advantage of it. He don't miss. And and the good thing about Chipper is that he has a really good mentor, which was his dad. Mm-hmm. His dad was his coach pretty much throughout his whole life. And he was a hitting coach. And every time he's in a slump, all you have to do is call his dad, and his dad show up the next day and start talking to him, working on his mental part. Mm-hmm. And then a few days later, Chipper, he's back, bang, hitting well again.
That's so neat. So now we talked about Chipper before, but I don't know if I asked, who was somebody that you played against that you just really admired? You never got to play with them on the same team, but just they were a dangerous hitter that you just, something about them that you just really admired in their hitting approach.
Well, Mike Piazza, as a catcher, I really admire him because he's a catcher, and I always wanted to hit just like him. I really want to have his power. I would really want to have his patience at the plate and drive the ball all over the place. He was one of a kind player as a catcher. And his hitting and his power, and he's the one that I really admire as a hitter.
Okay, wow, yeah. I mean, he's one of the best offensive catchers of all time in the history of the game.
The reason why he's in the big league is obviously because of his offensive skill. Because he wasn't a great catcher. He wasn't the greatest catcher. He wasn't the worst either.
He improved.
He improved. Yeah, he wasn't the worst either. But he couldn't throw people out of second base at the beginning. So he's hitting.
Yeah,
he's worth it.
So powerful. And then now that brings us to your 2003 season was really clicked for you. You were the Silver Slugger Award winner.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? What did you do that offseason? Did you do something different that offseason, or just the time in the big leagues you met?
Well, the year before I went through my worst season of my career. I have a lot of personal issues, physical. I was still getting better from my ACL.
Okay.
And then the fact that I was towards the end of my career, towards the end of my contract, I was kind of worried, and a lot of things happened. Anyway, after that season, in the off season, I started my diet. The first thing I did was losing about 20 pounds and work out as hard as I could. Like there was no tomorrow. I worked out sometimes twice a day. And just because it's like do or die, this is my time. If I don't do it this now, I'm done. But I wasn't working on my mental part. I happened to do it once the season started. Like I would say a month once the season started. It's when I did something on my hitting that clicked. I guess it was actually a home run that I hit off Nathan, the reliever for the Giants back in the day. Mm-hmm. I took him deep to center field, and all I did was bring my hands back as far as I can, and just try to not move the body as much as I used to. Because before I used to try to reach that fastball outside, and I used to move my body forward a lot. Mm-hmm. By keeping the hands outside, I try to keep my body back as long as I can. And I happened to see the ball a little longer. And all I did was using my arm. More arm, less body.
Okay.
Still body,
right,
but more arm. And I hit that home run. So the following day, I happened to have the same stand. The same stand. And try to think exactly what I did the night before. And I happened to hit another home run off of Frank Rodriguez, the reliever. And all I did was hands only. He threw me a fastball inside. All I did was just twist my body, get that ball out of my hips, hit a home run off to left field. I mean, on a fastball, really
And he had,
way
he
inside.
had an electric fastball
A sinker.
and a real good slider.
Sinker.
Or breaking ball. So you're saying, so you decided to load your hands back a little bit more, or a lot more actually.
A lot
and then
more,
it kind of kept your
My left hand
body
was
back.
almost straight
Okay.
back.
So something about that mental cue helped you just stay behind the ball better with your body and your hands.
Yeah. And
So how many home runs did you end up hitting that year? The Silver Slugger, was it over 40?
43.
43 home runs.
43 home runs. One home runs came as a pinch hitter.
Okay.
Wow, pinch hitter.
Did you break 100 RBIs that year too?
Correct. I hit 109.
Man, what a monster year.
Hitting 7 too.
Okay. Big time.
Back then, hitting 7, it's kind of tough because you have number 8 here, which was like not really the best hitter of the team. And then after that was the pitcher that you don't, basically the 8th hitter, they don't have to pitch him because they want to face the pitcher to throw him and get him out. So 7th hitter was a little, you don't, that's why I learned how to hit a bad pitch all the time, because as a 7, hitting 7, you're not going to see good pitches all the time. Mm-hmm. If you hit it, 4th, 5th, or 3rd, you're going to see pitches because, you got good hitters behind you.
Right. They're going to pitch around you. With
7th hitter,
mm-hmm.
7th hitter, you got the mediocre in the 8th, and then you got the pitcher who never hit.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge for me, but at the same time, I learned myself how to hit bad pitches and be focused and be confident, and everything just happened. Everything feels great.
Yeah, that's so cool. Watching the game today, there's a lot of talk about the electric fastballs. The arms are getting stronger and bigger, and there's more guys throwing in the high 90s and 100 than back then. But in your years, there was still very good velocity, guys that could throw very hard. Maybe a little bit less out of the bullpen with 100 plus mile an hour, but still guys that were extremely dynamic. How would you approach that if you knew you were going to face a closer coming in that was throwing in the high 90s? The fastball's a little heavier, maybe it runs a little bit more. Was there an idea to change your bat or choke up or change anything, or did you just tell yourself to be quicker? How did you deal with that?
Well, back then, if you have to face a pitcher who throws triple digit, which there was a few, very few, not a lot of them, like very few, or pitcher that throw high 90s, which is a very few as well. Every team have one or two, but it's still very few compared to now. Mm-hmm. It was hard when you have to face those kind of pitchers because you don't see it all the time. You see normal pitcher throwing 95 or 90, between 90 and 95. And then when you get to see those 98 and 100, you don't see that every day. Then you have to make that adjustment. And what I did was choke. Just choke. Try not to pull the ball. Try to go right field. Pretty much, that's my focus. Because if I try to pull the ball is going to beat me.
So choke up and try to stay short and inside and go right center?
Go right. Mm-hmm. Go right with it. If you try to pull it, then the ball is going to beat you.
Okay.
To
today now, some of these guys come in the 6th or 7th inning throwing high 90s to 100, and they just keep every inning they roll them out 7th, 8th, 9th inning.
But the way I see today's day, the pitcher, so many pitchers throwing 100, 98, 100. Every team have 2 or 3 guys, or at least 2 guys throwing 100, or almost 100. So you are more prepared as a hitter because you get to see him more often.
True.
You get to see him more often. You know exactly what to do. But when you have to see a pitcher like that every once in a while, it's hard to adjust. It's hard to adjust because you're not used to it. Oh, my God, this is a freak.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really great point. I mean, the guys, they're better pitching than ever, but they see it way more often.
They would see it more
And
often.
hitters always figure out a way to get there eventually.
Exactly. It's all about
pitching gets
adjustment.
ahead for a little bit, but then the hitters are going to figure out.
It's all about adjustment. But when you don't see that all the time, then it's kind of hard to. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna see a guy throwing 100 now. Oh, what am I supposed to do here?
So we're getting closer to the end of our time here, and I've just enjoyed myself so much. Javi, you and I have gotten a chance to know each other over the last 5 or 6 years, and I consider you a friend. You've become a great friend to me, to this program. The community, you and Gina are always doing everything you can to help CVCS and in all the aspects, not just athletics and baseball, but we really appreciate the times you come out and talk hitting or throwing batting practice and work with catchers, and it's just been so much fun, and I hope that it will continue, and I hope that one day I'm getting to coach, Glavine, and hopefully he's driving balls and making noise and excitement, and even when in the early years when you were helping with some of the exciting players we had, like Andre Antone, and you had the Atlanta Braves coming to see him, and then more teams started to follow. I really feel if he hadn't gotten injured that year with the Tommy John, he might have had a real chance. He was a big, strong athlete, but
for sure,
just you taking that interest in him and in our program, it's been so special. So we're going to end the podcast with our Players Want to Know segment. We've been doing this the last few times. Okay. This is our 4th episode, so it's really exciting. We had Josh Randall on as our first episode. They got drafted by the Tigers last draft.
I remember working with him.
We're super excited. You were working with him when he was still catching.
A catcher.
We knew he had a great arm, and then we had Brian Rao from B Rowdy Baseball on. Was a Washington Nationals minor league prospect before he got injured. Mm-hmm. Skip Schumacher on the last week's episode, and we've been so fortunate to have you for this 4th episode. And we're going to get right into the Players Want to Know. We're going to start here with, this is from, Senior Heath Carlson has a 2-parted question here.
Okay.
First, he wants to know, how did you deal with the nerves in the big games like the World Series?
Not even thinking about it. I just think that this is just a regular game, not focusing on the media, not focusing on the fan, the cameras. Just focuses on your pitcher, on your teammate. The game. It's like when if you're a horse in a horse race, you know how they cover their eyes, so they make sure the horse doesn't look at the horse next to it, so they can focus just on the finish line. That's pretty much what you have to do when you're in a really big game like the World Series. You gotta cover your eyes, focus on the game, forget about everybody else.
So it's really, actually, it sounds simple. I mean, I'm sure it's harder to do in real life.
It's harder,
but it sounds simple. Just basically keep all the outside, extracurricular activities and noise, and just tunnel your vision.
And a good way to do it too is just laugh. Tell a joke to your teammate. Talk to your teammate. Have laugh. Laugh is what keep you all this nervousness and out of your head.
So maybe he had this next question in mind as a 2-part question based on that, having fun and laughing. Because his next question for you is, in your opinion, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Depends what kind of sandwich. Is it a turkey sandwich?
Well, no, is a hot dog considered a sandwich?
Oh, is a hot dog considered a sandwich? I'm sorry. No, I don't think so.
That's a great question. 61% of America, I looked this up, you can fact check it, 61% of America does not believe that a hot dog is, in fact, a sandwich.
A sandwich. That's so funny.
Because it's one piece of bread that they wrap around.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost more like almost a burrito.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you, Heath Carlson. He's a senior infielder for CVCS. That was a pretty funny question. Now we're going to go to a sophomore. Sophomore Gabe Haddad, outfielder for us. He wants to know, what is your favorite food for dinner?
I like chicken. Chicken with vegetable, rice, and beans.
Yeah. Chicken enchiladas up there? No.
I'll eat that too.
Yeah.
But basically chicken and vegetables, and throw some rice and beans sometimes. But that's my main dish right there.
Well, there you are, Gabe. Now you know what Javier Lopez likes to eat for dinner. Maybe you could try doing that, and you'll have some power next year.
Yeah, back when I was younger, it was rice and beans only. Rice and beans. And that's how I grew up eating.
Another sophomore catcher, Baron Butler, he would like to know, what do you feel was your biggest struggle or your biggest obstacle that you had to overcome to become a major leaguer?
My biggest obstacle would be being hard to myself. I would say that not having confidence on myself was my biggest obstacle. Not knowing how good I was. Every time I see myself, I thought I was just a mediocre player. I don't never see myself as a good player with potential. I was negative. Once I got advice from many coaches and many teammates and people, then I was able to overcome all that and start seeing myself in a positive way, and trust myself and believe in myself and tell myself that I can do it. And after that, the rest was history.
Nice. That's amazing. So once again, we're getting back to that mental approach and mental self-image, self-perception. Like you're going to have a better chance of being a successful player if you could, even if it's just for that moment with your feet in the batter's box, that you believe that you're the best hitter in the world. I've heard players say, I know I wasn't a better hitter than Barry Bonds, but for that moment with the bases loaded and that inning of that game, I felt I could be a better hitter than Barry Bonds. Like you have to just spin this positive image.
Absolutely.
And it just helps so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that question. That was a great question, Baron Butler, a sophomore.
All right.
We have senior Reed Boyer. Now, this is a good question because you played 14 years in Major League Baseball, and then also with the minor league. So, I mean, you were 17, 18 years of professional baseball.
Mainly 20 years, actually.
20 years, 2 decades of professional baseball, and 14 years in the big leagues. This is what Reed Boyer, his senior left-handed pitcher, his question is, what was your motivation to keep working hard? After all these years, you kind of solidified yourself in the big leagues. I mean, it must be difficult sometimes to keep that motivation to work really hard, but how did you continue to do that for such a long period of your life?
Well, realizing that baseball is the best job in the world, especially for the people who love the game, and in order to be in the big league for so long, there's only one way to do it, and you gotta work. You gotta work extra, just because there's many position players that hungry to take your spot in the big league. And if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not taking care of your position, all of a sudden you'll be gone. If you think about that all the time, then you realize that you got to work. You got to work every single day, because the one year you forget about that, somebody else will take your spot. And you don't want that to happen, because then life is not going to be fun. But yeah, I realized that I was in a good position with the Brave. I realized that I was the main guy, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I have to say, you got to work double. It's easier to get to the big league, but it's a lot harder to stay in the big league.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that before.
Yeah, and you need to realize that and think that you got to get better. I never feel I never felt like I have, I give all, I show all of my ability. I always thought that I have more to show. So I never in other words, I was never satisfied to my playing time. I always knew that I have more potential. I always knew that I can prove more. And that's the mentality I have to have, because otherwise, what else I have to do to improve myself? Mm-hmm. If I already show all my ability, no, you always got to keep in mind that you can do better and you can do more. I always wanted to win the Gold Glove, and I was working a lot harder defensively because I always won that Gold Glove. Never came, but at least I give it a try.
It motivated you to.
It motivated me to to get that Gold Glove.
Yeah.
I hit that 1 year. I hit that 43 home runs. I always knew I was capable to, and I was trying to do it, but never happened. It happened later in my career. But I always knew in the back of my head that I'm capable to do all that, hitting 300, 40-something home runs, all that. But it never happened. But that doesn't mean I quit because it never happened. I knew that it's inside of me. I got to continue working on it, because sooner or later that's going to come out and make the difference.
That's just beautifully put. Reed Boyer, thank you so much for asking that question. It's so, and I know you go down and anyone thinks of you, it's Atlanta Braves. But there was, after the 2003 season, then you actually you signed with the Orioles.
With the Orioles.
And you had a couple years with the Orioles, and it's just crazy to me, we've talked about this, to still think that you being one of my childhood memories of trying to swing like you right-handed and looking up to you in the Atlanta Braves, and then we were so close removed where just the season before I was in the Eastern League in AA, and talking about guys who trying to make it to the big leagues, and it's sometimes much harder to stay in the big leagues than it is. That year in AA in the Eastern League, I had so many teammates that were getting calls up, back down, calls up. You had Eddie Rogers, you had pitchers, Riley, Parrish, Forsynick, Eli Whiteside, Fontenot. And then the very next year, Dave Tremblay is the manager of the big leagues of the Orioles. And you're on the team with probably a lot of those names.
A lot of those going names, back. They all play with me.
Yeah. And that's crazy. And now you're the veteran, the savvy veteran, giving all this advice to these young guys and trying to help them stay. Maybe like the way Mato told you, gave you some tips, and then now you're doing it for high school kids, CVCS, and even other places, and for your son Glavine, and I'm sure the kids on his team. Javi, this has been such a blessing to have you here in our podcast. Thank you so much. You're just a wonderful person, a father, a husband, a coach, a mentor. We are just so blessed to have you as part of our CVCS family, and hopefully you'll be a regular guest, and we can have you on every offseason.
Anytime, I'm right here.
Okay,
anytime. Thank you so much for the kind words, and I've been blessed to be here in CVCS. It's only half a mile to my house.
That's awesome.
And ever since we moved here to California 9 years ago. We found this school, and it's been a blessing for not only for my kids, for my whole family.
That's so great. Well, thank you again, and thank you to Joseph Jasper, our producer of this podcast, and our athletic prefect Luke Leisengang, and all the hard work that goes into making this CVCS Baseball Podcast possible. You guys all have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK-12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening, and stay tuned for more.